is enough, and it's time for a change.
Hey, yo.
My life, my money, my legacy.
MJF defects from the inner circle and starts his own faction at the end of Dynamite. Hello, everybody. My name is Jared Never Sleeps, and I'm here with my very, very handsome co-host, Mr. Adam Anthony James Martin, the straight shoot in a suit. And wow, what an ending to Dynamite tonight.
Wow. This is great. I'm very happy with the ending, but yeah, what an ending. A bit of a double swerve, sort of, making it look like, one thing was going to happen, kind of like a Kansas City shuffle is what we call it. You're looking one way, but something else happens. But then something else happens.
It was like a crazy, it was a crazy double swerve. For those who didn't watch, so the inner circle comes out intact. They said they can have a war council. It's something that when people are in a war, they do when things are not going their way. So Chris Jericho was talking about that maybe we should add a member, and then MJF is like, whoa, maybe we should subtract a member. And they have this kind of stare down, like what's going on, and then boom, Sammy Guevara's music hits. He comes down to the ring, and he's like, Chris, I need to show you something. And Chris is like, you're dead to me, you son of a bitch. You're dead to us. He's like, no, you don't understand, Chris. I need to show you something. So then he cuts to a Titantron, and it's a meeting from earlier in the day that Sammy Guevara had recorded on his cell phone because somehow he knew that these people were going to talk about their plans. So
he just knew.
He just happened to know. So MJF, he's on camera saying that with the inner circle that, hey, today we're going to turn on Chris Jericho. So then they cut back to the ring, and then everyone's looking. They have this intense look on their face. And then Chris Jericho looks at MJF and says, you think we're stupid? You don't think we talk every single day? And then the whole group turns back on MJF. And MJF is like, no, wait, stop. No. You don't understand. And he's almost crying. And then he says, I was too busy starting my own faction. And then boom, the lights go out. And when the lights come back on, it's Tully Blanchard, it's Wardlow, it's FTR, and it's Shawn Spears. And it's just a crazy, just cold-blooded, massacre in the ring. Yeah, it's so dramatic. Super wrestling dramatic.
Jake Hager took the big bump right off the bat. But before we get into the big brawl, like you said, MJF implied that, it's time for a change. Out with the old, we're going to continue on with the new.
Yeah.
And just didn't go accordingly. How did you feel overall about the presentation of the double swerve itself before we get into the brawl part of it? Like the first part of it all. How did you feel about it?
Okay, so I feel like I kind of explained it better than what it actually came out to be on the show. I like where they're going with it. It made me excited that MJF has what seems to be like a new Four Horsemen, which I think everyone's kind of leaning toward. But it was a bit clunky of a story, being that there was a double swerve, meaning how would MJF know that the inner circle was going to turn on him? It just kind of didn't make any sense. Right. Yeah. Did you kind of see the same thing?
Yeah, it was just a weird way that they presented it. I think they could have done it better. Not being a professional writer for a professional sports entertainment / wrestling company.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I don't know quite that answer. Give me an hour or two. I could probably come up with something between the two of us. I'm sure we could.
Yeah,
easily.
Right.
Give us another 5-10 minutes. I'm sure we could. Whether it be right or wrong, not our call. But the way that they did it, and it's not really how they did it. It's more the end result that everyone remembers.
Right.
So the end result that I remember is this amazing faction now being formed to now really compete MJF did Jericho a favor, I believe, by turning him completely face with the rest of the inner circle, along with Sammy Guevara being back in that group. That group is awesome as well. And now that they're going to be fan favorites, it's going to be even better because now they're going to have a top line heel faction to compete with, futurely or down the road, in the future, and potentially if AEW, talks about blood and guts match, or maybe they go another stadium match.
Yeah,
they have that lined up now, for the future at the end of the year. Something big should happen at the end of the year when these two factions finally collide at full force, which I'm really looking forward to.
And maybe it's me nitpicking about that storyline a little bit, and it's still new, but it's just kind of strange because MJF and Jericho were the strong team for like months. They just were in the basically like a blood feud last night with the Young Bucks. So, not last night, but Sunday, and then just kind of the next show, it's no, I want out of the inner circle. Like, what was the point in the first place? He wanted to get in the inner circle so bad, and now he wants out. Like,
maybe just in MJF's mind, he sucked the juice out of it as much as he could. He got as far as he wanted to go. They failed to win their big match, the pay-per-view, and that was the ultimatum in his own mind, saying, hey, if we win, we keep on going for a little bit to see how long this goes. But if not, I have a backup plan. I've already been preparing, something for myself to now step out of the shadow of one Chris Jericho, the Ayatollah of rock and roll, so this was a great moment for all those guys because a lot of people were not expecting Sean Spears to join, I believe, FTR when he did, and Tully, like he did. So the fact that they weren't really using him now puts him in a prime position because he's such a good talent as well. We remember him in WWE as Ty Dillinger. I like this new direction for him in FTR as well, a squattering tag team that has the most potential out of all tag teams right now in all of wrestling. The best, in my opinion, the true definition of, tag team wrestling, and, having a manager with Tully, or like Tully, another epitome of tag team wrestling when he was the, part of the Brain Busters, or, any other team that he's been involved in. He's just such a great mind behind that group. And then, of course, you have MJF with Wardlow. And to me, Wardlow, you can't really compare it to the Four Horsemen because obviously there's 6 of them, right?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. There's like the 6 horsemen people, the 6 horse people.
So I can get where people can compare the fact that this is a really elite faction, and they're going to be a pain in the ass for anyone that gets in their way, including the inner circle, I believe. So maybe instead of comparing them to, any other faction, focus on maybe the new direction that this faction might take on, for AEW as a company, and, build up their viewership even more so, and maybe even draw more of the, those fans that potentially might not have NXT to watch on Wednesday nights. They can now tune over to Dynamite and remember something, especially if they're old school fans, something similar to what they were used to watching in the Attitude Era, where all those factions were running around. We had DX, we had, Los Boricos, we had, the biker gang, we had the Ministry, we had, all that stuff.
Yeah, so many different factions. Yeah, I'm looking at Twitter right now, and at Jesse Krakow, he says, I'm more than ready for Dynamite to turn into the MJF show. It feels like The Rock in late '98. So kind of when they had those factions, and The Rock was kind of ascending to the card, kind of being being the head of Nation Domination.
Yeah, when he took over.
Right.
So there you go.
Do you think that, because I'm seeing online, a lot of people are looking at this pretty positively, and there's like a lot of people marking out about the MJF. I guess you can call it a double heel turn because he's already a heel. So, do you think this kind of made up for the ending to Revolution, the huge botch with the explosion? Do you think this kind of excitement is kind of erasing what happened on Sunday night?
I think so, especially the way they kicked off with the show, and especially the way that, we got to hear Kingston and Moxley do their promo regarding Sunday night's, events, or lack thereof in some people's eyes, regarding the main event. And then we also got to hear, the Canadian boy, the Golden Locks himself, with Mr. Callis, come out and give their version. So we had 2 stories. So
I found that to be kind of convoluted. I think they kind of, when they explained what happened, I love what Moxley and Kingston had to say about it. They were kind of torn. Like Moxley was like, yeah, I think he just stupid. He tried to put together something and it didn't work. And then Kingston was like, yeah, he was trying to rib us, man. Like, and I passed out because I had a flashback. But when Omega and the what's the two guys from? Yeah, Callis. When they were in the ring, and the Good Brothers, right? When they were in the ring, though, I feel like they kind of really beat the dead horse as far as like, yeah, was it a mess up? Was it not? Like they could have said what they thought, and then they kept it moving and kept and stay with business. But just focusing on it way too much, I feel like it was like, all right, we get it. Like, what's new? Well, like, what do you have to say?
That's the stupid inside little jokes that they still like to do between the boys, between the friends. Just doesn't need to happen. They could have, like you said, just said it once, got it out of the way, made their point, and then all of a sudden, moved on to their next point, or wherever they're trying to go.
Kenny Omega's still the champ. That's in the past. Keep it moving. Because Omega cut a promo like, I really wanted Moxley to die. And it's like, no, you don't. You're like the executive vice president of the company. I don't think you really want him to die.
You don't want that would not be good.
That would not be good for business.
Not good at all. So, with that being said, though,
Eddie Kingston came out.
Yeah, Kingston came out. We're talking about the Kenny promo, right?
Yeah.
And Kenny, Kenny. I think Moxley and Kingston though did really good job describing it, like you said. But then they beat the dead horse, and then finally Kingston came out, was outnumbered obviously, and then you know what? He had a little bit of assistance of his own. I believe it was Moxley that came out.
Moxley comes out. They beat up the Good Brothers together.
And then all of a sudden, music hits. And was it just me, or did JR seem a little confused on who it was coming out?
Yeah, I think JR sounded like a little bored the entire night, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Yeah, he did. He seemed a little
super
tired
bored.
or confused.
Yeah.
All night long. But that's another story.
Right. So Christian Cage comes out and he enters the ring, and Kenny Omega offers his hand, and Christian's kind of like, I can't shake your hands. And all the while, Moxley, the Good Brother, just completely disappear. I don't know where they went. They just completely disappeared. Yeah, they just disappeared somewhere. So then Omega tries to cheap shot Christian. Christian tries to turn around, put him in prettier, but Callis grabs Kenny Omega's legs and gets him out the ring. And then Christian, looking at the belt, he picks it up, taking a look at it, and then it kind of sets up the Moxley versus, sorry, not the Moxley, the Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega feud. What was interesting though is like it started with Kingston hit Kenny Omega. So shouldn't they still have been interacting, you know? Wouldn't that kind of make more sense?
As soon as Kingston hit Kenny,
yeah,
he got jumped by the Good Brothers. And then Moxley came in. So both of the Good Brothers paired up with the new tag team.
I get they're going in a tag team
to give the opening for Christian to come out and give that one-on-one.
Yeah.
So that looks like the direction they're going in, because next week they announced a tag team match between the Good Brothers and Kingston and Moxley, I think.
Right. Well, maybe it worked a little bit better if, like, when Omega was like berating Kingston on the mic, if just one of the Good Brothers just cheap shotted him. So then he can direct his attention toward them instead of he hit Kenny Omega back. So I figured him and Kenny Omega would kind of tiff.
Going back at it for round 2 or 3 or whatever it was, because I see what you're saying there.
Yeah,
it looked like they were maybe going in a direction. Okay, what about Christian though? But then obviously the music.
But still, you can just have Christian come out.
Yeah,
and he's looking at the belt because that's all he cares about. The belt. Yeah.
I totally get that. But like the way they did it though, he gets jumped. And in our minds, we're like, okay, are they starting a program with Omega and Kingston? Because, like you said,
right?
Why didn't one of the Good Brothers just deck him instead to create the animosity there?
Right. But, so then you have the tag teams can go away. You obviously have Good Brothers and John Moxley versus Eddie. Yeah. Okay, that's gonna happen.
And we're not left wondering what's going on with Christian, because now we think that maybe Eddie Kingston and Omega might be going into a program. Where does that leave?
Right. Yeah.
Charisma.
Right. So that kind of confusion just came out, and it was like, all right, well, where's the payoff between Kingston and Omega? Like that's what I was like kind of looking for it, but
just that subtle little thing.
Subtle little things in storytelling.
They left the door open for Christian, and like you said, we talked about it on the Revolution recap when Christian debuted. He's only there for one thing only, and that's AEW Championship Gold. And the top prize is the one that Kenny Omega has. So why not go after that guy? And
it's an easy story to tell. The story is he wants the gold. And that's all it is. He doesn't need a backstory.
On that program. Why is he going to do it on this program? He doesn't want to be in that shadow either. And it's 2 Canadian boys. So it doesn't get better than that in my mind.
One's from Winnipeg, Manitoba, and I believe one's from Toronto, correct?
That is correct, sir.
Mm-hmm. So this show had a couple really great bright spots when I look back at it, as far as they further the storyline with the MJF Inner Circle thing. So now we have a new feud coming out of it. We have Christian and Kenny Omega.
I love that.
And I guess they explained what happened with the explosives. I don't think it was for me. What do you guys think about the way they explained the explosives not going off or going off? Let us know. Using the hashtag WrestlingNeverSleeps on Twitter at WNS_TV. But I also have to mention the matches on this card were pretty good. The show started off with Matt Jackson versus who did he face? He had Ray Phoenix tonight. He had Ray Phoenix in the beginning of the match, beginning of the show.
Yes.
What did you think about the match?
Well, they're the Young Bucks are lined up to take on the 2 members of Death Triangle, I believe they're called, Pac and Phoenix.
Yeah.
Because they were the winners of the Battle Royal at Revolution, right. So they are lined up to square up. So why not put 2 really good workers that have great chemistry? They already have a history between the 2 of them. In a one-on-one match leading up to that tag match. So this was a great match to open up the card. I think it builds a lot of excitement. It kept the momentum going into the next segment. But obviously this match was one of those, it just basically almost stole the show right off the get-go. So it was really hard for me to see, okay, how are they going to top this? Because normally on earlier AEW programming, you might have seen this like in the main event, but they left that spotlight open for, 2 other guys that we'll talk a little bit later.
Right.
Which was really, really cool in my mind because they gave Phoenix and Matt a good amount of time to open the show, and they definitely set the pace and did all their little flip-de-doos and their whip-de-woos, and they still built in some technical wrestling in there as well. So that was fun to watch from my point of view.
But I think this match would have it would have benefited the entire show if the Omega segment that should have went on first. It's coming off of a pay-per-view. They can go ahead and get, address the elephant in the room. Like, hey, this is what happened with the explosiveness. And then if you want to bring Christian out and you have that Kenny Omega Christian thing, that really at the beginning of the show, that's like, okay, at the top of the hour, this happened. That's great. And then to have this match would be like, I think an awesome follow-up.
Oh no, for sure. Definitely. I agree with that too. It would have made more sense for them to start off with the guy with the championship belt and
explain what happened with the explosives. People have been talking about it all weekend.
Potentially the biggest story from Revolution. You have a kick off your show. But I mean, if you're going to pick a match like they did to kick off your show, there's no 2 better guys than obviously one of the best, if not the most questionable, talented wrestler right now in wrestling.
Yeah.
Ray Phoenix against, one of the EVPs and 2 guys that are eventually going to be challenging each other or fighting each other for those tag team belts, than those 2 guys. So I think it was a good match to kick it off.
For sure.
Probably, like you said, not the way I would have started the show myself.
Yeah.
I would have kicked off with that promo, like I said, to start it off really hot. But maybe they were saving that bullet in the chamber for the spot they did for a reason.
Right. Yeah. It's tough to book these shows. And especially like to compare to Raw, like a Raw had like some red hot last 2 weeks, red hot opening matches. Not to take anything away from this match.
Yeah.
I just felt like, hey, people have been waiting the whole week to figure out what happened with this explosives and how they're going to, explain it. So they could have just did that spot to open the show. But if I want to put this match in a vacuum, like Ray Phoenix this guy is doing his thing. Even seeing Matt Jackson in singles competition, he's one of the top tier talents in the world. And I even like the spot where I think he kind of he like baseball slid out the ring and kind of kicked this Ray Phoenix's partner by accident, and then his brother came out and helped. And
Pac.
Pac. So great little match. And then moving forward, switching gears, we had Cody Rhodes versus Seth Gargis, an enhancement talent. He's
blah, blah,
0-2.
No offense, Seth.
Yeah, that's why I call him an enhancement talent, because I don't want to give him I don't want to call him the J word. But yeah, the quick little match. Speaking of which, like Cody Rhodes, like I feel like his entrance doesn't have to be a pay-per-view entrance every time he shows up.
It's the grandest entrance.
It's like a WrestleMania type entrance every time this guy shows up.
Even for like a 2-minute segment.
Right. Gender reveal.
Oh no, it is ridiculous. Just every time it's overdone. It doesn't need to happen. I'm sure that's costing the billionaire lots of money.
That's where the explosive budget came from.
I wonder what that pyro budget is like.
Cody's explosives are better than the explosives for the death match.
I know where I'm going to be on the 4th of July.
Right, Cody's house.
And Tony Khan's.
But yeah, quick words with Seth Gargis. Then Penta, I guess he's a Spanish announcer. So he gets up. Yeah, it was Penta.
It was Penta. He's the third member of Death Triangle.
Yeah, he gets up and he's talking about like, Cody, you were in that match with me on Sunday, but you're not better than me. And I was really gonna destroy your shoulder, and I was gonna hurt you, so you'd never be able to pick up your daughter. And then Cody goes crazy, and they go in the crowd and they start fighting, and people are holding him back. Yeah, that's a good segment right there.
I think it was pretty good for Penta to do that. He's the one that did the flipping pile driver to Cody on the ladder when he was braced up between the barricade and the ring. That was a huge bump in that match. I think that's always a great matchup as well. You have an established guy like Cody, and you have a really talented guy like Penta.
Yeah.
It's an interesting matchup, and it's nice to see Pac and Phoenix do their thing on the tag team side. And it's nice to see a guy like Penta instead of Pac going in the singles routine. So I like it. Like you said, it's a good little segment, good little promo for him, just to gain a little heat on Cody and make his points really, really quickly. Didn't take up too much time, and he didn't run on. So I think it was really effective.
So do you think this is going to be not to say there's not going to be a storyline, but do you think this is going to be kind of like a one-off ordeal, or is Cody going to stay in like that? He's in like kind of like that TNT mid card, but it's not like bad mid card. It's like it's entertaining mid card feud. So you think this is like a one-off thing, or is it going to continue to be a Penta versus Cody feud?
He has so many options in that like, range of the division, right? Like, because he can't obviously challenge yet for the world championship due to the clause that he had losing to Jericho via MJF. So I think until that point where he gets to building his rematch eventually down the road with MJF, I think he's gonna help try to build up this TNT division. Yeah, that upper mid to lower mid card range of talent right now in terms of overness with the fans. Yeah, and I think he's the guy to do it, and I think he's doing a great job so far. Like, Darby Allin, and like he had a really good match.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Yeah, for sure.
Just phenomenal. Yeah. Like, he's just a prime example of one of the guys that Cody's worked with since dropping down to that division in hunting for that title. So there's so many guys that we even seen in that ladder match that Cody could put a really good match with and help get over to that next level.
Yeah, you could argue like that area that Cody is kind of in is like it's a little bit even better than the upper card, like the main events.
Yeah,
you got the Ray Phoenix in there, Penta, Cody obviously, Scorpio Sky's in there. Speaking of which, there's no Jungle Boy in the show? No
Jungle Boy. No, which was weird.
Yeah, well, because you have to have all three of them on the sheet. That would be another tag team title match. Yeah, so
he needs to go single.
Yeah, but so moving forward, the next segment was Sting talking, and
again,
it comes out. Yeah, they're gonna kill that it's Sting thing from WCW. They're never gonna stop with that.
WCW
every week nostalgia. But Sting comes out. He just says, I don't even know what he said really. He just kind of like nothing of substance or value.
Proving that he still got it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Putting Darby Allin over.
Putting Darby Allin over.
which is cool.
Lance Archer comes out with Jake the Snake, and Lance Archer was like, "You are taking up my time," and I like that. I liked because it was kind of true. It was a babyface promo.
It was well done. Just a quick and effective promo again. Just a little intervene. You didn't have to have Sting go out there again, but if your job to do was to get Lance Archer now involved with someone like Sting and potentially Darby Allin, by all means, set it up, do it, help the guy get over.
I know they would
kind of limbo with Jake, so
I know they wouldn't do it, but it would be awesome. And I know they wouldn't do it, but it would have been awesome if like Lance Archer just took the mic from Sting and just knocked him out and just started talking, like, like just really be like a heel, like they're taking up my like the same thing kind of like Mustafa Ali, like, hey, these legends are taking up my spot. But Lance Archer just a lot bigger and more credible to like really do that. That would just completely bury Sting. But
Sting would would be good for him.
Unless
he's really trying to put Lance Archer over.
Right, but he's talking a lot of time on that contract. He can't get knocked out in the first 2 months. Then what?
That might be longevity. Just rent him off for a few months every match or every little segment or promo. Mm-hmm. Rent him off for 3 or 4, but do little video packages for him or vignettes.
But then they can't go, it's Sting every single week.
Oh, they can on the vignettes.
Yeah, right.
Even though he's not there.
Yeah. Have a hologram come out.
All the production now.
So the comedy spot of the night for me was, and I feel kind of bad for this guy. It's his debut. All Ego Ethan Page versus Lee Johnson. And I was extremely distracted during this match because I'm watching the match, and then I'm hearing like either like a baseball game or a basketball game in the background. And I'm just thinking like, wait a minute. I'm like turning my volume up and down. I'm like, am I tripping? So then my group chat was watching AEW as well. They're like, hey, do you hear this? It's a whole basketball game going on in the back. I guess like someone in the production truck had a different audio up, but that's freaking hilarious. I hear like defense chants and they're playing music. Man, what's up with like all these problems with AEW nowadays?
I'm not sure, but yeah, I felt bad for Ethan Page too because obviously Ethan Page is a really good talent. He's a good, slow, working paced, old school type of heel, who can still move and likes to move. So he has, he can adapt to so many different styles inside the ring. And for him to go out there after making his real debut at Revolution, but coming out in one-on-one action to try to get himself over and make that official singles debut, it's not going to take away anything for me in what he did in the ring. But at the same point, we were kind of messaging back and forth going, because I think I asked you, I'm like, is this part of like his new gimmick where he plays his theme song during the match? Because I thought it was his theme song. And you're like, no, man, that's like a game from like something completely different. So I was thrown off. I was confused.
I was crying. I thought it was so funny. The guys on the top ropes and all I hear is defense, defense. I'm like, what's going on?
So I thought it was like a gimmick or something that he was running in AEW.
Yeah, they just completely mess up the audio. Completely mess up the audio.
That'd be a sweet thing to do, though.
So next,
what do you think of Ethan Page, though? Other than the old botch with the music,
unfortunately, I kind of just missed the match because I was laughing so hard about the audio. It just kind of killed it. And then they went to the picture-in-picture thing is a little bit disrespectful, in my opinion. How they do,
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. Like you have people actually working in a match and trying to entertain the fans, and then the other thing you have like a Popeyes commercial, and it's like you're better off kind of just cut it. Yeah, just cut to commercial. Just cut to commercial and do something else. But don't put people in the lower picture for Popeyes to promote chicken.
No.
I don't want to spend too much time on this match, but the 6-woman tag team match, comedy spot number 2.
Comedy spot number 2. I thought this was number 1 on my list in the whole page because that was more of a botch and wasn't Page's. It was out of Page's control.
Oh yeah, they did this one on purpose.
They did this one on purpose, and that's the one that got me. I was dying. Jared, do you want to explain what we witnessed? At the very beginning of this match, after the bell rang. Because if I start talking about it, I'm going to start laughing, and I won't get through it.
Oh man, let me see if I can get these people's names first. Okay, here we go. So the match starts off, and Disclaimer, I felt so embarrassed to watch this match. I'm like, I hope someone doesn't walk in the room while I'm watching this because this just looks crazy. This is the reason why non-wrestling fans hate wrestling. This match. So the match starts off with Maki Atoh. She comes out and she has a microphone and she's doing like a little dance performance and she's saying it in Japanese and no one knows what the heck she's doing. And as she's singing, she looks like Jigglypuff from Pokemon doing this. So as she's singing, just a fight breaks out in the ring, and all women are like they have like this big, huge smudge. And while this smudge is going on, Maki Atoh is still singing her little like Jigglypuff song. So then she decides to get in the ring, and they fight for a little bit. And one thing that stood out to me is Nyla Rose, who her nickname is the Beast.
Yeah.
She's selling for these little like tiny like weirdo Japanese wrestlers. Like she got speared by Ryo Mizunami, is it? And she's selling, and it's like
Riho.
Oh, I miss Riho. No Riho tonight. No Riho. But yeah, this match in my opinion, does not need to be on national television. No disrespect to anybody, but it shouldn't be on national TV.
I lost my concentration after the breakout of Pop Star.
Yeah.
On PlayStation 2. So I was
yeah. Garage band
distracted me to the point where I couldn't focus on the match. I don't even remember who won, to be honest.
Her little like headbutt thing that she does off the ropes, where she just like does like that gets me every time because it looks so stupid that it's funny.
So I do like Britt Baker though.
Yes, and I'll get to that as well. Having Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa in this match is disrespectful. I really love Thunder Rosa's work. If you had to build the AEW women's division on somebody's back, it would have to be either Thunder Rosa or Serena Deeb. And then Britt Baker, her character work, I think is like second to none. And you could actually kind of see, like, I can imagine like a Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, like championship feud. They just don't need to be involved with this craziness. They could have had a singles match tonight, and that would have been way better than just being in like a cartoon. What do you think?
Definitely agree. Britt Baker.
I like her finish too with the dentist
Rosa,
gimmick. Thunder Rosa,
Serena Deeb, Anna Jay. Those are the types of women that you want to, surround them with, to work with, build around with. Unfortunately, Sheeta as well. I like Sheeta. She's been a really good champion. She's carried any credibility. If that belt has any credibility, it's all because of her.
Yeah.
So whatever credibility it does have, it's all because of her. Good or bad, however you want to look at it. But she's doing her best with what she's been able to work with. And I think working with Britt, Rosa, again, like the Anna Jays, and, of course, any other upcoming talent that they have, in the women's division, but just not the character, not the comedy stuff. They should have done their own thing. They could have branched off and done something else, even just a 2-on-2 tag match. Cut out the comedy stuff.
Like who is AEW trying to attract with this type of stuff? Like the girl coming out and just singing some random song.
Again, we know some people that work for that company that have a fan and friendship with a lot of ties to Japanese culture. A lot of talent over there. So potentially they're just getting spots because of those relationship and ties, whether how good they are in the ring or not.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get it's Japanese culture. Yeah, I get it's Japanese culture. I understand it's Japanese culture, but like, how does is it translating to an American audience, you feel like, or?
Well, Kenny's Japanese culture and character didn't, so he had to change.
Right.
He's adapted. He's modified it at least. He hasn't changed it completely, but he's definitely modified it because it was not getting over.
Right.
Same with the Good Brothers when they tried to come into WWE. They were notorious over there in Japan, being part of the Bullet Club as well. Obviously, the writing with WWE kind of screwed them.
Yeah,
made them a comedy team, which they are definitely not. So the fact that they are now coming back and being that dominant team and have the TNA championship belts for whatever they're worth, is at least a start. Right back to the right track to where they belong. But, I think the women's division's on the right track if they just keep the elites with the elites, and if they still want to give other women an opportunity, obviously, that's the goal, to build that division up even more so, just like the men's division or the tag division. But as of right now, you got to focus on your top athletes.
But I mean, out of all the women on their roster, out of all the women wrestlers in the world, was this the best? This is the best spot they could have. Like, how did they think that this match was gonna, come out? That's what I'm trying to figure. Like, I didn't like this one at all. Like, out of anything the show, I didn't like. Like, it was funny just because it was so stupid. But I'm just trying to think that who would this really cater to? Like, is there an audience that really likes this type of these type of matches?
Well, majority of the cult audience, I'm assuming, from AEW, followed the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega's Japanese career too. So they're really very familiar with the background of the culture and the style of wrestling. So maybe potentially majority of those fans are catered to it. Like they still will appreciate it and tune in. I'm sure all of them that were watching it didn't flip the channel when that match came on and said, "Oh, Japanese wrestling. Okay, here we go." But it wasn't even a full-on Japanese wrestling style match either, right?
But that's what I'm saying. It wasn't like strong style or something like that. It was rubbish. That like it wasn't even like,
it was 3-on-3, which is more of a Mexican style if you think about it. But it wasn't obviously the same pace, same rules. So
right, like it wasn't even like a Japanese match. It was just complete like a rubbish match. That's what I'm looking at it like. What's going on here?
No, for sure, definitely. They should have integrated Britt Baker, Shida, and Rosa.
Nyla Rose. And Nyla Rose too.
Card in a totally different manner.
Yeah. Now how do you feel about the way Nyla Rose is selling? Is that potentially gonna hurt her gimmick as like this big monster heel?
No, because I think the modern fan is so now used to seeing athletes of that size take bumps.
Yeah.
For the athletes that are half the size, we see it on any other program that we watch too, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, it never used to be like that, and some athletes will get it right. Some athletes do it right. They maintain their stature and they play their part the correct way, and they act like they should act. Whether being a baby face or heel with a larger size than the modern average wrestler size today, compared to what it was back then. But in my opinion, it doesn't really hurt her credibility with the modern fans. More so, the people that pay attention to things like that, yes, definitely discredits any chance that
Yeah, so I guess everyone watches wrestling
monster
different.
or beast, if that's what you mean.
Right. Yeah, that's why I kind of looked at it. I'm just serious. She got speared by someone half her size, and I'm just kind of like,
Exactly.
But I guess Edge has speared people half his size too.
Edge is a big guy, though.
I mean, he's not Big Show big. He's not Brock Lesnar big. He's not even John Cena big. He's tall.
He's 6'3".
He's like 6'5", but he's not.
He's not 115 pounds.
Yeah, he's not Riho. I had to add that one in there. Riho.
You know what? It's not Riho fighting someone the size of Miro.
And no Miro tonight.
No Miro.
No Miro.
No Hangman Page.
No Hangman Page. What is going on? Exactly. Like, there's no Miro. There's no Hangman Page. We have this match and nothing else for people to do.
Did we see the Dark Order?
No Dark Order. No Matt Hardy. Oh, Matt Hardy was on there. Matt Hardy joined up with
the Blade and the Bunny and the Butcher.
The Bunny and the Butcher. What do you think about that matchup? That faction now.
Just the lame excuse on why I signed it doesn't make sense. It's a crazy weird pairing. And since you boys lost me money, or I lost money out on my salary, now I have to get a new client or whatever.
Yeah.
Terrible team to join that team. That team has bounced around from stable to stable. They were with Kingston. They came in, with another team.
Yeah. And Hardy needs something to do. So it's, is what it is. And next up, which I think I would call, maybe you'd agree with me.
That's all we got to say about that, eh?
Yeah, pretty much. The match of the night, I would say, Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really great back and forth. This is the first time I'm really paying attention to like these two guys, Darby Allin and Scorpio Sky. Darby Allin is like super undersized, like he's definitely in that category of all petite wrestling. But there's something about him he has like an it factor where it's like he's small, but he's like a gritty little skater kid. So it's like it's kind of believable that he can kind of like he has like some heart to him. And I think that's why he like resonates with fans.
He's a tough little shit.
He's like a tough little shit, exactly.
And he's a stubborn little shit.
Yeah.
And like you said, he has so much heart and passion, and he has so much based off his character. He's got so much deep down aggression and hatred for things that have happened to him in the past that fire inside just burns so bright that it just overcomes anything and everything.
It's just something about it. He's an it factor. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I like it. I love it.
And Scorpio Sky he has a great backbreaker. I saw he had a couple other good moves that are like, yeah, this is pretty vicious.
I've always liked him in the trio of SCU. I'd like to always see him spread away from teaming with Kazarian and Daniels just to see what he can do on his own. And I believe I have in my notes, I was like, oh man, how cool would it be to see Scorpio Sky as a really full-on good heel? And then all of a sudden, he did what he did.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great back and forth. Like you said, the two can sell, both can take bumps, both can do the damage because they're fairly equal in size.
Yeah.
So it's very believable. It's not like Darby Allin versus Chris or Brian Cage. Someone that, the difference.
Yeah. So no Brian Cage tonight either.
No Cage either.
Yeah.
But Scorpio Sky's always been a really good talent. I've always been a fan, and I'm glad to see him branch out and now go this route that he's going, and to show that he can go one-on-one with Darby Allin, who's been a really good defending TNT champion. Just sets his place in the pecking order for that championship title. He was involved in that 6-man ladder match, had a really good outing, but to get the opportunity to go one-on-one, just gives you even more motivation coming out on the short end rather than, winning it and then trying to redefend it. I think in my mind, more motivating to learn, move on from it. But we got to at least see probably one of the best, if not the best, appearance from Scorpio Sky in AEW since they've signed or started the promotion. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, he's producing, and he won the Sonic the Hedgehog Invitational on Sunday. So, being that he did win the ladder match, I was actually kind of surprised that they would throw him in with a TNT title match because, do you keep the TNT champion strong? Do you keep the guy who won the ladder match strong? And end up Darby Allin was the one going over. And we spoke about this kind of last show that maybe it's best Darby Allin is not the TNT champion and let that be like in that Cody, Scorpio Sky area, Miro, let those guys have at it every single week. But then I actually noticed that Sting and Darby Allin were on completely two separate segments of the show. So is that a situation where that's no longer a thing? Do you think that Sting and Darby Allin are kind of splitting ways and, Darby Allin will focus more on the TNT matches? Because the kid could wrestle. And then Sting had that thing with Lance Archer. So is that their way of being like naturally like, okay, that's done?
Maybe Darby Allin was just preparing for his TNT title match that he knew that he was going into tonight.
Yeah, they don't want to show him twice or something.
They programmed him doing his suit thing. You don't want him out there twice. Let the man be. He's got to defend his championship. But again, with Scorpio Sky, I think going back to what we were talking about with Darby Allin maybe not having the championship, maybe it would be better for a guy like Sky to have that belt. But maybe down the road, make it mean something for when he takes the title. You said something about being surprised. I was surprised on how quick the championship match took place. I thought maybe they would have built it up for a pay-per-view. But maybe now they know that.
Well, it's kind of like it's been like the workhorse title, right?
Match.
Yeah, it's kind of like the title. Like it's kind of like the workhorse title. Like it's defended like every Dynamite or something like that. And I like that.
The TV championship for WCW.
It's like the TV championship. But do you think the right person went over in that match?
Yes, I think so. Just because the way it did go over, it didn't hurt Scorpio Sky on losing that way because it was about to appear that Scorpio Sky had the match won. It was a hard-fought back-and-forth battle, like I said. It could have gone either way.
And it's believable that Darby Allin can win.
What's that, sorry?
It's kind of believable Darby Allin can win. As far as like the size.
Sure, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely. Especially on how back and forth the match was. But it looked like it appeared that Sky was going to, go for his TKO finisher. And right at the last second, Darby Allin was able to slip one over him, get one by him, get the quick roll up, and to get the 1, 2, 3. not really hurting Scorpio Sky's image throughout that entire match.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think it dragged Darby Allin down for having to win like that because it appeared that he almost got beat rather than, hitting that coffin drop and then getting a clean 1, 2, 3 right there.
Right.
So,
with all that being said, as far as the show goes, how would you rate this episode of AEW Dynamite?
Ooh, putting me on the hot seat. With everything that happened and all the development and the questions that I now have for next week's Dynamite, I think I'd have to give it a good grading, pretty strong grading. And I think it'd be fair to say, at least a B or a B plus, I think, with the event.
Yeah.
I think it's fair. I think we had
as far as like, do I want to see
set.
more? Yes. Was it perfect? No. B plus show. A lot of
guys missing though.
What's up?
There was guys missing, but you can't have, you can't make your.
It's only 2 hours. Yeah. I mean, if we could have did without, if Kenny Omega's promo was 2 minutes shorter and we didn't have the women's match, if it was just Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb or something, or Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, the show probably would have been an A.
Yeah, I think so.
An A. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. No,
so,
I like that. No, for sure. I'm excited for next week, though.
I'm definitely excited for next week. So I think right. So that about wraps it up for our show tonight. Make sure you like our pages at facebook.com/WrestlingNeverSleeps and Instagram.com/WrestlingNeverSleeps. Make sure you follow us and subscribe on YouTube. Click the notification button to make sure you get updates when we drop new videos. And we are going to see you guys on Saturday for SmackDown. SmackDown is going to be electric this week. Should be electric this week. But that's our time for tonight. For my very, very handsome co-host, Adam Anthony James Martin, the straight shoot in a suit. I am your boy, Jared Never Sleeps. Thanks for watching. And of course, it's still real to me, damn it.
We're the greatest.
Good night.
You suck. Cheers.